Hey, I'm Arnav, and this is the Hackathon 101 workshop for HOTH 12. So, for a quick overview of this workshop, this will go over what is HOTH, general HOTH information, forming a team and idea, planning your project, technology stack, and other important ideas such as version control, and finally, making a demo, and then we'll end it off with some tips for HOTH. So, what is HOTH? So, HOTH is a beginner-friendly hackathon. It is supportive mentorship, and then you can explore and experiment new ideas, you can learn new skills, and then meet cool people, and most importantly, have fun. So, to elaborate more, Health is a 12-hour event where people collaborate to create a technology-based project in a limited time. And this is the concept of a hackathon if you've never been to one before. So that's it for what is Hoth. And now we'll move on to general Hoth information. So for general Hoth information, you can refer to our website, hoth.uclaacm.com. As you see at the top, there's a navigation bar which has all the important information that you'll need. We'll start off with the announcements page, which will have any important announcements for the event, and then if you need to check in about any event updates that you might have missed, all you have to do is go to our website and click the announcements tab. Next, the schedule page. This will include all the schedule for the entire event, and it'll be updated accordingly. So if you have any confusion about what's there to expect, then you can just click this link. And then finally, we have the Hoth Discord. So in the Hoth Discord, you can see there's these channels may not be have the same name, but there'll be related channels such as Hoth Announcements, Hoth Getting Started, Hoth Front Desk, and then other Hoth channels that you can discuss with Hoth participants. You can see your announce all the announcements for the event and important information as necessary in our Discord. Okay, so forming it. So now we'll move on to forming a team and idea. So if you already have a team, you're good to go. But if you don't have a team, you can join our Discord where you can talk to people and find teammates. And also, as said before, you can join the Discord and then you can look at the schedule for the event, and then you can also look at announcements and then talk to other event participants. So here's the links, and don't be afraid to reach out to people you know if you have a cool idea you want to build. And then about forming an idea, first you want to check the Hoth website for themes we announce. And to be most successful, you want to ideally align your project idea to one of these tracks because that's mainly what we'll be judging them off of. And you can also check out past projects that have won Hoth for inspiration, which is also located on the Hoth website at that link. Uh, and some good points to follow for a project idea is it practical? Is it useful? Is it innovative? Is it achievable? And then finally, make sure it's cool. So many times you'll need to pivot your idea while hacking because of unexpected frustrations or any setbacks, but don't become uh, demotivated by this. Just power through, and your project will turn out great. Okay, so now we've covered those three topics, and we want to work on planning your project, technology stack, and version control. So this is just the basic overview. So before you start your project, you want to have a solid plan for your idea. And some key considerations would be what technologies are going to use, how are you going to divide up the work, and is it achievable? Because you have to remember that Hoth is only a 12-hour event. So if it's not achievable or you think you won't be able to finish, you need to rethink your approach or idea. And then finally, you have to start small and work up, or else you'll get overwhelmed if you try to implement your project all at once. Okay, so we'll start with the technology stack, and then this is regarding the project type you want to build. So for a hackathon, three very important mediums for your project are usually a website, mobile app, or a game. These aren't the only three project types that you can build, but these are some of the three most popular, which I'll be going over. Like I said before, there's plenty of ideas that you can work with that don't align in these three categories. So feel free to build any of those are if you don't want to build a website, mobile app, or do a game. But I'll start off with these just to get you guys started. So for a website, some popular choices for the front end, which is what people see, are React, Angular, and HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Some popular choices for the back end are Flask and Node plus Express. If you have no experience, then HTML, CSS plus a little JavaScript is the way to go. If this is your first hackathon, if you never touched a website before, be sure to check that out to try to get your website to function. Actually, and if you have a little bit of experience with JavaScript and you want to go the more complex route with the framework plus the back end, then for the front end, the framework, you can use React plus V, and that would be perfect for you to get started on. And if you don't have time to learn the backend tech stack, you can use Firebase. And what Firebase does is that it pretty much simplifies the process of creating a backend entirely. So all you got to do is link a few authentication credentials to your front end, and then you automatically have the Firebase backend set up for you. Moving on to mobile app, you have Swift, um, which is a language that is used for iOS development. However, this is Mac exclusive, so you will need a Mac to enable to in order to see the preview of your app actively, and React Native as well, which is another mobile development um, library. So, and then finally, moving on to game dev, you can use game engines such as Unity. Unity is pretty beginner friendly, so if you want to get started with game dev, there is a lot of documentation on it. Uh, we do have workshops on a lot of these topics at this link right here. Especially game dev, React, and then HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Once again, if you don't have mu that much experience, then HTML, CSS, JavaScript is the way to go for a website. Okay, and then we'll move on to the database portion of the technology stack. So, do you have data store? And then, if you have data store, how are you going to store it? So, there's relational databases such as Postgres, MySQL, and SQLite. And these types of databases store data that correspond to a row and column in a table. And then there's also non-relational databases that store data as documents. And then popular choices for this are MongoDB, Cassandra, and Amazon DynamoDB. Um, Also, as I said before, if you just wanted to take the simple route and set up your backend with Firebase, you can just store all your data using Firebase as well. If you're running short on time or you just don't have that much experience with the backend and you think that 12 hours won't be enough for you to kind of get started on a simple one, then you can just simply use Firebase. We do have database workshops at the link in the previous slide that I mentioned, so be sure to check that out. That'll get you started on a few databases. All right, finally, APIs. So APIs are used for integrating third-party functionality into your applications. So an example would be I'm making a personal music visualizer and my listening history data. What I could do is I could use the Spotify API and get this data, so I won't have to manually type out and manually look at my Spotify listening history data and change it every single time I listen to a new song. So I can just simply fetch it from the Spotify API. And you can integrate these APIs into your personal apps in order to get cool third-party functionality and make them dynamically react to um, certain things that you have worked on or certain things that you use in your life. So some popular choices are the OpenAI API for GPT-4o and other models. The Google APIs, specifically Maps, Places, and Gemini are pretty popular ones. Maps, obviously Google Maps, Places for location names, and then Gemini for their large language model. And then also the Twitter API. We also have a workshop on APIs, so be sure to check out the web API workshop. And if I'm not mistaken, that will help you get started on using, I think, the Spotify API. Okay. Finally, version control. You want a way to collaborate with your teammates effectively on your project, or else all the code you write will be jumbled, and then you'll have issues merging all your code together and then finally creating a functional project. So, Git and GitHub are perfect for this. With these two tools, you can assign features, merge changes, and then most importantly, I would say keep track of your incremental development. We have a workshop on Git, so you can check out the workshop at the link previously, that on the other slide. All right, finally making a demo. All right, so for Hoth, a video demo is required to be reviewed by the judges of your project. And for this demo, presentation is key. Make sure your final product seems marketable while you present it. And some key tips of stuff that you want to include in your presentation are your process, brief technical details, is your project scalable, and then future prospects for your project. Um, don't worry about if there's small mistakes in your video. They don't have to be perfect. We know you guys are on a time crunch, and you probably won't have a lot of time to film it. So yeah, don't worry about small mistakes. Just try to give your best, and then make sure you guys try to present your project in the best way possible. All right, and then finally, tips. So don't be afraid to ask for help. There are mentors walking around throughout the entire event. Also, don't be afraid to ask your team members for help. Use online resources effectively. If you've encountered a problem in your project, there's a good chance that someone online has encountered it before and posted about it online. So you might be able to find something helpful there. And then, as mentioned before, join our Discord, and then you can ask for help in there as well. And then finally, our workshops provide a great place to start if you guys are really confused on how to use certain technologies. So be sure to check them out. Other important tips, I guess, are there's panels during the hackathon that you guys may find helpful. And then also other workshops that we've used in the past can be found in the Hack archive at hack.uclacm.com/archive. So be sure to check those out in case you want to explore a topic but don't see it in the hack on the Hoth 12 workshop. They may be in a past workshop. And finally, and most importantly, don't let setbacks frustrate you. I know this is, especially if it's your first event and you're experiencing some issues in whatever you're building, you're gonna feel like you want to quit and you don't want to continue the project. But trust me, just keep on working and try to get through your problem and have fun while doing it. And I hope you guys have a great time at Hoth 12. Thank you.